Hello, everyone. Mary Esther Gilbert here, back again with my True Health Mastery Institute members. And tonight we're going to be covering two subjects this time. I thought I could squeeze in two subjects here. The first one is going to be about collagen. Actually, the first one's going to be about the organic food industry and how we as consumers can sway that entire industry. We don't have to pay for corporations that are harming our health. We can vote with our dollars. And I'm sure you've probably heard that somewhere out there before, but I'll show you exactly how to put a halt to those corporations who don't seem to care about human health or about maybe even life. I mean, I could extend that. I could just, take that off on a different tangent, but I'm not going to go there. I'll just stay on track here. The second subject is going to be about collagen. People don't know enough about collagen. I got a call the other day and someone asked me, which type of collagen should I take? There's different kinds of collagen and there's different sources. But all in all, basically, when you take in a protein into your body's going to know exactly what to do with it. It'll know how to disassemble those molecules, as diverse as they may be, and utilize it where it needs it most. So your body's always regenerating itself and recovering from some form of assault. It could be stress or inflammation, could be temporary, could be long-term. So we're going to cover, you're going to be an expert on what kind of collagen to get for yourself. All right, so I'm going to share my document here. You should be able to see that, everyone. So the first thing I called it was poisons. I think someone is trying to come in. One moment here. Okay, no,
Yep.
it was something
No,
else.
it was me. It was me. I was, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, stay put now,
I,
Carl.
I'd lost, I'd lost the screen, so I was trying to
Oh,
figure out how that happened. So I'm good. It was me.
okay. All righty. Yeah, so I've got it on the right view so I can see everyone. Okay. So poisons on your food, poisons in your body. That means when you take in foods that are not organic, chances are 99.9% that they've been sprayed with some kind of toxic pesticide or herbicide or some kind of synthetic chemical. I've done much research on these toxins, and we have covered this in previous Zoom meetings with the members. And so those videos are on my YouTube channel, so you can go back and take a look at those. But there are many toxins that actually are cancer causing. They destroy the immune system. They reduce the person's ability to learn and concentrate. They damage so many different body systems, including the reproductive system, the hormonal system, the digestive system. So they really do affect in a very hazardous way how your body functions. So that having been said, this call is not really going to be about which those poisons are. We've already covered those, but they do get accumulated in the body. So when someone says, I cannot afford organic foods, I always tell them, well, you don't have to buy as much food because you're getting more nutrient density and you'll be more satisfied. You won't have cravings. Your body will be highly nourished. And so you won't have to feel like you have to go out and eat some more, right? So you tend to eat less, but that nutrition is so much more dense and your body will utilize it. So it doesn't end up being that much more expensive. Okay, so you might pay a couple of extra dollars for one thing or another here and there, but what I do is I go shopping at 4 different grocery stores, not all at once, of course, but whenever I can venture out and stop at the grocery store and bring home some groceries, I just shop at 4 different stores to get the best prices and the best value on organic foods, and it works out pretty well. Okay, so there are really no excuses when you look at the monetary amounts that you're really putting out for things that make you unhealthy, and you turn around and you get high doctor bills or missed work. It's always such an opportunity cost, right? So we have to maintain or just keep in mind what the real cost is. Not only that, of course, when you're not choosing organic, then you are fueling the industries that don't care about us. If you choose organic, then you have a much better chance of supporting the whole industry, but also those individual farmers and store owners or supplement company owners, the smaller businesses that are struggling sometimes just to make it, right? So they need our business and they need our caring because they are the ones who are the most dedicated to providing us with the most high quality products. So the question is, are we forcing the demise of the food industrial complex, or are we empowering their nefarious agendas? And I say nefarious, I don't say it lightly. If you do your research out there and you dig deep enough, then you realize that these companies are definitely not our friend. They're not a friend to humanity. They're not a friend to you and your family. And so why should we support them when they turn around and hurt us? All right, so that's been my position. That's my observation based on my experience in this industry for over 45 years. All right, so I've seen the industry change over these decades. We are changing for the better. The organic and nutritional supplements industry is becoming more and more high quality. So we have to get the information right. There still are a lot of people out there who are either intentionally or not intentionally trying to sell us products that aren't going to work or can even be potentially harmful to our health, depending on the ingredients. Alrighty, so again, this is not about that subject because we've covered it in other videos. So if you haven't seen that yet, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Welcome back to the viewers who visit here often enough. So yeah, all the videos that we have done so far that I'm speaking about right now, it's in the video archive list on this YouTube channel. Okay, so as you can see, here are some pretty scary photos, right, of people who dress in hazmat suits and their body is completely covered, and they've got these gallons of pesticides that they're spraying on these plants, and then we turn around and we eat those plants. So, you know, it's like taking a bottle of or can of Raid and spraying your food. So you do not want to do that. I mean, that is extremely dangerous to your health. So please do not do that. You know, I'm just trying to give you an idea of the kinds of toxins that are being sprayed on foods that are not grown organically. And yes, we do have the pesticide drift. It's airborne, and so it's going to land on the foliage around the countryside, in cities, or even on your own organic farm or other organic farms. But there have been many tests done on organic versus non-organic produce, and we'll see the difference in a moment. It's pretty shocking. So I'm going to read you a little bit here. There was a meta-analysis. Now, this is the kind of study that gathers all of the data and compiles it into a database and analyzes it mathematically so that you can view the statistics, how much of something a group of people have taken over time, and that's more measurable and more definitive. Math does not lie, right? So this data that they're gathering of these test subjects will tell you exactly what's going on. So there was one meta-analysis, and this was 343 studies that revealed the contrasting compositional differences between organic and conventional or non-organic crops. The researcher found that switching to organic produce and organic food products, so in other words, if you buy a packaged food that's all organic, then that's what they mean here, or fresh produce, which is even better. So they provide more antioxidants equal to eating 1 to 2 extra portions of fruit and vegetables per day. Now, a portion of fruit is one whole fruit, and a portion of vegetables is like a cup, sometimes 2 cups. So, you know, trying to eat all that food and trying to get the nutrient value equivalent to organic food is going to end up costing you more. You know, you're paying double the price for half as much and half the nutrients, if that. So the analyses also showed significantly lower levels of toxic heavy metals in the organic crops like cadmium, arsenic, mercury, and lead. Those are all extremely harmful and are also the synthetic pesticides when they did the analyses. So the European Commission standard for maximum permitted contamination levels in food and organic crops had almost 50% less of those toxins than conventionally grown ones. Now, I would like it to be 0%, but like I said, there's this airborne pesticide drift, right? And so, unfortunately, there has to be more of an investigation on the some of the organic farms that have been found to be cheating. So we have to keep an eye on our farmers to make sure that they really are adhering to the laws and standards that earned them the USDA organic seal. It's much, I think, being in smaller countries, it's much easier to monitor things like that. And I think that's why in the US, corporations have gotten away with more. So if you buy locally, if you get to know your local farmers market, or even find out where your local grocery store is obtaining their organic produce, then you'll get a better idea of, you know, the the methods that are being used to grow organic foods. So the study demonstrated that choosing organic foods reduces the levels of toxins and increases the levels of beneficial and critical to health antioxidant plant compounds. Now, I've covered extensively, the antioxidant value of the plant kingdom. So please peruse the YouTube channel, go to my website, buy the books. There's so much research on the health benefits of the botanicals that we in everyday foods and in a lot of supplements that you can buy as well. So in another combined university study, there were two universities, researchers found that permaculture crop production brings about a significant improvement in biodiversity, soil quality, and carbon storage. So that means that when you have a very healthy ecosystem, you've got all the animals and the beneficial insects and the soil microorganisms and all the animals that come and go, that fly in, fly out, or meander in and meander out. There's this turning of the soil naturally by these animals, or the pollination that goes on, or even when they fertilize the soil, right, these microorganisms will turn that soil into something very rich and nutrient rich. So we've got a whole ecosystem that we have to consider in order to produce the nutrient density that our bodies actually need. So large-scale permaculture farming methodologies have proven to be a really great alternative to conventional row by row, monocrop farming. That's when the plants get in trouble, when you don't have a diversity of different plants that actually assist each other and they help boost their immune systems together. It's like this cooperative thing going on in the soil. So when you have a biodiversity of plants, then there is less likely that they will become diseased. So I will go over what permaculture farming is if you don't already know what it is. So I've taken a 4-month permaculture course, and Carl here has taken a very intense course in permaculture as well. And if any of you else out there, I'd sure like to hear about your experience with it. But anyhow, I'll explain a little bit about what permaculture is. It's just beyond organic, okay? If you thought organic was great, or regenerative farming was great, permaculture produces higher nutrient density food in a smaller space. But it's been proven that you can actually enlarge it to full-scale food production for large populations. So anyhow, in this university study, researchers found that permaculture crop production brings about a significant improvement in biodiversity, soil quality, and carbon storage. So in other words, the gases that are in the atmosphere are actually sequestered through the plants into the soil, and that's where they belong. Of course, we don't want too many of those gases in the atmosphere because it kind of affects our atmosphere, right? Large-scale permaculture farming methodologies have proven to be a real alternative to conventional farming. Permaculture is not something new. It's been around for maybe 30, 40 years. It's been brought back, but I'll show you some ancient food forests, they call them, that use the permaculture idea. That's where they started. It started thousands of years ago. It's not new. So, but it's people are rediscovering it, and it's gotten more and more popular as time went on. So permaculture does not disrupt an ecosystem. It is self-regulating, it's diverse, and results in increasing food yields over time while improving environmental diversity. So it's self-regulating, meaning You don't have to rake any leaves. You don't have to remove brush and go burn it somewhere. You just let everything fall naturally as it does out in the wild to build this biomass in the soil. And when it rains, instead of flooding the area, it's like a sponge and it absorbs the water and therefore absorbs the nutrients and therefore reduces flooding. And you don't have to water it either. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to irrigate your crops. And permaculture can be done, like I said, on a large scale, or it can be done in your porch, you know. So, and I'll show you how that's done. So here's a quote. A high humus content in the soil is important for nutrient and water storage to withstand periods of drought. Although no mineral fertilizers were used on the permaculture areas, their soils had a higher soil nutrient content. This is also beneficial for human health. The higher nutrient levels in the soil suggest that these are also higher in the crops produced. So in other words, they're producing higher nutrient density, mineral-rich crops. Vitamins are pretty average. I mean, plants use the sun in photosynthesis to produce vitamins. So you don't really need a nutrient-rich soil for that because they get that from their biochemistry that forms it from the sun. But as far as the essential minerals that our populations have been so deficient in, which relates to so many different health problems, that's where permaculture comes in. So here's another great quote by one of my heroes, Linus Pauling, two-time Nobel Peace Prize winner. He said, "You can trace every sickness, every disease, and every ailment to a mineral deficiency." When I saw that quote 30 years ago, I thought, aha, I knew it. I knew it. All right, now, Jeff Lawton, he's the renowned permaculture expert, and Carl here has taken his course. He said, you can solve all the world's problems in a garden. And that is so true. When I had my garden, I went out there for my peace of mind, the aromatherapy, the colors and the brilliance and the fresh air, and just working with your hands and, grounding with the earth by putting my hands in the soil and gathering the plants that were so good for us, or gathering fresh flowers and enjoying them in my house. You know, it was always just wonderful to be around all that nutritious, healing foliage, because I grew medicinal and culinary herbs, and I also grew various kinds of flowers for the pollinators. So it was a very wonderful garden. So anyhow, here's a photograph of what it looks like to plant biodiversity in organic farming. Sometimes organic farmers will still do the row by row idea, right, instead of a food forest, but they're planting the diversity there, and they don't till the soil. They allow things to drop where they are, and then they build up the soil that way. And there's so many other ways to build up the soil, you know, kind of thing. So you can add more organic matter to soil like that and increase the nutrient density of the soil. So anyhow, this is just a video, a picture of what an organic farm might look like. So when you get into permaculture, though, that's a whole different story. So basically, all the elements in the wild, they have these different layers of cooperative plants that help each other grow and thrive, and they attract all the diversity of animals. And when they're that healthy, then the predatory insects that come in and feast off of sick plants, then they don't come by. These plants are producing their essential oils and other phytochemical compound complexes in their fluids that are actually a natural insecticide or insect repellent. So, you know, you don't get a lot of that. I never saw any kind of predatory insects, only beneficial insects in my garden all those years. So I knew that they didn't like the taste of anything I was growing, right? So anyhow, that's how it's like in the wild. There's all these different layers. So first of all, when someone wants to start a permaculture garden or a food forest, then first thing they want to do is plant the overstory, the tall trees. And then once that is established, well, once you have to move the earth around, so that you have to keep in mind when the rains come, the water doesn't flood everything away. So it's called earthworks. And what they do is they rearrange the soil, they push the soil around so that they create these swales or banks that actually have waterways as well. So they can build into the landscape where the water is going to go. It's going to go around perhaps, or if it's on an incline, then they go perpendicular to that incline and they create swales that way. So the water just stays on the land. It doesn't come flooding down like that. Okay. So that's what these layers are for. And they also have the understory tree layers, the smaller trees, and then of course the shrubs, the herbaceous layer, and then they have the root layers. So you grow all the root vegetables because they form an underground network as well. You can see the underground uh, root systems that are feeding each other and communicating together to help each other grow. There's a definite communication going on here. So then we've got the ground covers as well. They're usually great for fixing the soil. They draw nitrogen from the sky and they allow the plants to benefit from the very important nitrogen. And then we've got the vine layers too. They just like to climb up things and they look nice, but I'm sure they have a very important, depending on the vine, if you can grow grapes on a peach tree, that would look lovely, wouldn't it? And I've seen pictures of that. It's just amazing. So you've got this synergy of nutrients, and as time goes on, it gets more and more nourishing and more rich, nutrient rich. And as plants keep growing, then you're going to have a veritable food forest. Here's a picture of a 4-year-old food forest before and after. So someone moved to a house that had a big backyard, and you can see that, they probably had to clean up all the trash they moved in with, or cleaning out the previous tenants' trash. But here it is 4 years later. Even when you plant things, it's going to be a seasonal thing. You'll get, a crop within months of you planting something. But also if you plant perennials and other plants that are going to be growing all year, then you'll be able to build up and have food production just in that first year. But the second year, you've got these plants that are growing bigger and they're starting to produce more. So he's got a diversity of herbs and fruit trees and nut trees, just all these different kinds of flowers and vegetables growing all in one spot. It might look very messy to some people, but if you were to walk into a wild forest and look at something like this, you'd say, wow, this is beautiful, right? But people have it in their mind that it has to be nice and neat. And people do permaculture, they have set things up so that they look nice and neat too. And it looks really nice too. But it depends on what your preference is. Either way, when you put gills of plants, groups of plants together to nourish each other, then that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be practicing permaculture one way or the other. And just a couple more pictures here. So at the lowest plateau in north central China, Dr. John Liu visited the area and he saw just how much the land had degraded here, as you see on the left, because people were allowing their animals to graze and they didn't hold them back. They just allowed them to keep grazing on this land until they cleaned it up. There's just nothing growing there anymore. So what was once green, like the one on the right, had just degraded over time. And of course, there were flash floods and a lot of silt that was accumulating and causing problems, in the villages below, that kind of thing. So he convinced them that this is what they needed to do. So thousands of them, came. As you can see, people are starting to work there on the left. But practically the whole country came and helped to build this. And next thing you know, the year or two later, it looked like this. Doesn't really take that long. So here's another individual, Jeff Lawton, the renowned permaculturist. So he has been greening the desert for some time now. He has his own permaculture farm in Australia, which is remarkable. He actually plants things in stages so that when he teaches, he can show his students the freshly planted, fruits and vegetables or whatever food he's planting. And also he graduates to, he says, well, this one we planted just a few months ago. This one we planted a couple of years ago. And this one is 10 years old. So he shows the addition of how things grow over time on his farm, which is pretty remarkable. But anyhow, this is what he did. He went to the country of Jordan and he saw that the desert was so dry and desolate that nothing was growing there. A few people were, of course, bringing in water and growing just a sparsely few things. But after he established the permaculture food forest, he said, you go in there and it's maybe 20 degrees cooler. It could be 120 degrees out here, but, he says anywhere from 80 to 90 degrees. So it's a lot cooler there. But anyway, I included the links if you want to view their videos. They are so exciting and educational and a real eye-opener as to what we need to do on this planet, all over the planet, in our own towns to make sure that no one goes hungry, that our cities are more beautiful. Whenever people are around foliage, the crime rates go down, people are less hungry. I mean, there's edible landscapes in some cities, and that's very progressive, very forward thinking. So anyhow, this is something that you might want to consider. Now here is a 28-year-old food forest. So this couple just moved into this barren piece of land. As you can see, the other acreages around their neighborhood was just like this. But over time, it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. You don't have to stand there and harvest like you do in the monoculture kind of farming. So you just let things grow, you pick what you need, and everything else drops to the ground and forms this wonderful sponge-like, nutrient-rich soil. So when it collects water, it can actually collect thousands of gallons of water, and that seeps down under the ground into the underground water sources, the water tables. So you have underground springs popping up here and there, all things that are nourishing the lakes and the streams. So it's all great for the ecosystem, just like a wild area would be. And this is another photograph of what it looks a little more close up. So it's quite dense. You can probably feel like you're going to get lost in there. But eventually, if you follow the sun, you'll probably exit the perimeter somewhere. But, and here's a 2,000-year-old Moroccan food forest. No one has tended it. And here is now new study finds that most of the edible plants in the rainforest were planted by humans over 4,500 years ago. So the Amazon is a permaculture man-made food forest. So I think this is the last little quote I'll read to you before we switch over to collagen. For centuries, many people in the Western world believed the Amazon to be an unpopulated and untouched forest. This has never been entirely true. The Amazon has been managed by indigenous peoples for thousands of years. On this International Day of the World's Indigenous Peoples, explore how, through the creation of fertile soils and selecting and cultivating various plant and tree species over millennia, indigenous peoples have transformed the Amazon rainforest into the most biodiverse ecosystem on Earth. And here is a link to, I believe it's a video. Yeah. All righty. So anyhow, that's what I have for you now. So I'm hoping that it gets people thinking that they have to know where their food comes from. We need to make sure that we are not being poisoned by the uncaring corporations that are producing food on a vast scale, that are ruining the ecosystems, the landscapes. They're bringing in insects that are predatory and causing disease in the plants. When you have only one plant that's growing, it's not going to have that biodiversity and protection of the plants that create that synergy of protection. So that's why I think food forests are the answer. They produce more food per acre, per square foot. They hold the water and they cleanse the water. So the biodiversity also helps to maintain the landscape. There's no excess insects that come in because the birds come and eat them, So the whole thing is just this wonderful balance in nature. So, okay, I'm going to see if anyone has any comments right now before we go on to collagen. Okay, we'll just keep going then. All right, so now I'd like to get into collagen. So many people are buying collagen out there and they may not be getting the results they need or want, or they could get better results. And also, if you only knew what was in your collagen, you'd be horrified. You probably want to throw it away. Okay, I'll show you the very few collagen products that are out there that I think are worth buying because your health is worth it. You have to protect your health. So collagen, why the entire body requires collagen, how it uses collagen for everything. And I mean everything. The molecular structures in these peptides are such that our bodies can utilize them immediately to build itself. Our bodies are almost entirely made out of protein. Everything in the body, our tissues, our body fluids, our biochemicals that we produce, the stress chemicals, as well as the inflammatory proteins or the proteins that monitor, like hormones, the enzymes we make are necessary because they're the catalysts for every single one of the trillions of cellular processes that go on every single moment that we're alive, right? So, so yeah, collagen does matter. Now, the types of collagen, I'll show you what the literature says about the different kinds of collagen. But ultimately, I think you'll realize that it really doesn't matter which kind of. There's a couple of collagens that are obtained from the different parts of these animals, but ultimately, when your body receives it, your digestive system just goes ahead and starts splitting these molecules apart anyway. So you're down to the amino acids, the fundamental building blocks of all proteins the body makes. So that from there is what your body uses to build anything it needs to build and repair and regenerate anything. Okay, but that's what I have found. But there's a huge multi-million-dollar market on collagen. Okay, so I think the collagen industry, the corporations need to pay attention to what I'm going to show you. All right, so collagen is a principal protein of connective tissue. So your tendons, your ligaments, all those things that connect muscle to bone, those are all the connective tissues. There are at least 29 different types of collagen, but of course the industry only has selected just a few of them to market. The most common categories are types 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Even though there's 29 different kinds of collagen. Of course, since the whole animal body too is made out of protein, they can obtain that kind of protein from any part of the animal, right? So now these are determined by their molecular protein structure and the types of tissues that they're derived from, like skin and bones and tendons, ligaments, and all these other tissues that are actually protein, and their cell structures. So the collagen molecules are composed of 3 polypeptide chains. When you digest a protein food, an animal-derived protein, it's a very huge protein molecule, as molecules go. Of course, they're all microscopic that we can't even see, right? But still, they're large compared to other molecules in the body. But when your body starts breaking those apart, they become peptides or smaller protein chains. So this is what the collagen industry does. They reduce them through an enzyme process or other processes to make them more readily usable in the body. So it's like pre-digested, right? So anyway, collagen molecules are composed of 3 polypeptide chains that form a triple helix, and this is what they look like. I'm going to enlarge this a little bit. Okay, so then we have different types of collagen, and they have different amino acid sequences and arrangements, which influence their properties and their function. So in other words, here is a typical collagen triple helix macromolecule. And so if you're eating bone broth, or if you are eating a stew where the connective tissues, the collagen has dissolved into the liquid, and you don't really see it until you refrigerate it, and it becomes like a jello-like or jelly-like substance, right? That's the collagen. So that's what your body does when it digests it. So this is what form it's in, and when you start digesting it, or when it's done, in production, then it becomes 3 different chains here. So that's the conventional collagen hydrosilate, meaning they use water extraction and they break these apart to the 3 different chains here. And so they go further by cleaving these enzymatically, and they become even smaller peptides. So these are the specific bioactive collagen peptides that we buy to eat. So then these are the applications. They're used for optimized stimulation of the chondrocytes and articular cartilage. That's the cartilage that surrounds the knee, the bone that surrounds the cartilage on the knee. So there's different kinds of cartilage in the knee, but for the most part, it's the larger area around the knee. So the chondrocytes are the smaller, cells that are going to be stimulated in order to generate more cartilage or repair cartilage. Then we have the optimized stimulation of the osteoblasts in bone. So osteoblasts are the cells that the body generates in order to build more bone. Then we have the optimized stimulation of fibroblasts in the skin. So as you can see, all these cells look differently depending on which body system they're in. And then we have high quality protein source for muscles and tendons. So the literature is very plain. It's been shown that this collagen can help rebuild all these different body systems. So now we've got the different types, right? The type 1 is found in, I'm going to move us around a little bit so that I can read. Bear with me here. Okay, so it's found in skin, bone, tendons, and ligaments and connective tissues, and it helps with tensile strength and structure. So they're talking about it's found in us, it's found in animals, right? So any mammal has these kinds of structures. So the type 2 is primarily in the cartilage, and that provides support and cushioning for the joints. And type 3 constructs skin, blood vessels, and organs along with type 1. So the body is always rearranging these molecular structures, these amino acids, to form new body proteins. So type 4 is a major component of the basement membranes, the thin sheets of tissue that provide structural support to the cells. And type 5 is in skin, bone, and cartilage and helps regulate the formation of collagen fibrils. So those are the fibrils are the protein like filaments, that form new proteins in the tissues. So here's a photograph or an image, I should say, of the basement membrane. And this is the dark purple squiggly line across the tissue that you're seeing here. So this is the skin we're looking at here. So we've got the under layers of the skin and the upper layers of the skin, right? But anyhow, yeah, this is the basement membrane that forms the structure of our skin. So when you're taking in collagen, this is one of the things that starts breaking down as a person ages, and that's when the skin starts, sagging. So now we've got the collagen food sources, which they've taken it from cow or any other bovine. It could be, buffalo or any other bovine, and also the pigs and the horses. So also they obtain it from the fish collagen and from poultry, duck, and chicken. So that's where we're getting our collagen products from. So biomedical applications of collagen. Now, collagen's been used in the medical industry, especially in surgery, for many years now, and there's plenty of scientific reports on how it's being used that way. So it's used for tissue engineering, applying scaffolds for tissue regeneration, and they're promoting tissue repair and wound healing, and also in cosmetics, aiding in tissue repair in cosmetics. So that's a good thing. If you see collagen in a cosmetic, make sure it's also a very clean cosmetic, organic, and non-toxic. No synthetics in that cosmetic. But if you see the collagen in there, then, go ahead and try it out. All right, so resorbable collagen has been utilized to treat wounds. So in other words, the body can take it up and start forming new tissues with it. Close grafts, and tooth extraction sites and help with recovery. Collagen-based membranes are used as barriers in periodontal and implants therapy to limit the epithelial migration and allow cells with the regenerative capacity to fill the problem area. So, we don't want the breakdown of tissues to get worse and worse and spread out. So that's what the collagen is great for, to prevent that from happening. And then the collagens are used to strengthen the lax ligaments to create skin replacements for severe burns and to help strengthen the lax ligaments, soft tissues, and abscesses. So when your ligaments start getting old and start wearing down, then collagen supplements have been great to help maintain them. And filling bone in dental work and graft closures. So various studies tested collagen applications and use with results showing improvements in facial moisture, skin elasticity, and nails, while seeing a decrease in skin hardness and wrinkles and dry skin, facial dryness, and all these other differences compared to their placebo groups in their testing. So now combining collagen with MSM is a very, very wise thing to do. So MSM is methyl sulfonylmethane. It has the sulfur molecule in there. It's an organic sulfur containing compound found in cells of humans and animals. It provides sulfur, which is critical for collagen synthesis. So if you take in a collagen supplement or you eat a food that contains the cartilage, like a super stew, like I mentioned earlier, or if you just like to chew on the gristle when you have a steak, whatever, your body's going to love it. That's just how we're made. It's a very identifiable protein that the body utilizes right away. Okay. And I didn't mean to sound gross for you vegetarians out there. Sorry about that, but that's just how we're made. I did not create us. God did. So it's an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory, this MSM, found to help with joint pain, exercise recovery, improved immune allergy counter effects. So if you suffer from allergies, chances are you're missing one of these compounds that contain sulfur. It's also, this supplement MSM is readily absorbed into the bloodstream and taken into cells of tissues. It can enhance collagen's effectiveness since it provides the sulfur required for forming collagen in the body. So the synergistic effect when taking both together, it multiplies the effects. So they act in synergy and they help each other build the molecules you need to build to maintain a more youthful body. And collagen provides the foundational peptides or proteins for building new collagen. It sort of builds on itself, and the MSM will aid in utilizing those amino acid building blocks while reducing any kind of inflammatory actions. If you are older like I am, if you remember those days when you'd have to go to the doctor and the doctor would give you sulfa pills and you would get well right away if you had the flu or a cold and you walked in there, and they just gave you sulfa pills and you automatically got well very quickly from that. So it's a very good antioxidant and antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory. And I just wanted to, I know it's belated, but here's a picture of the knee joint in case you wondered what the anatomy of it is. And here's the articular cartilage, here. When people wear this down, their doctors tell them, oh, you've got bone on bone and it's extremely painful, right? And here's the synovial joint cavity. So that's got cushiony fluid. So you've got to maintain your fluids in your body as well. So then you've got the bone, of course, and all these other parts that surround the knee. So anyhow, this is just a real good snapshot of what the synovial membrane looks like and all these articular cartilages are. So more research continues in the strategies for regenerating cartilage. Now, the science out there is trying very hard to prove that you can regrow cartilage. I've had a couple of clients over the years who were able to just get rid of their pain. And when they went back for x-rays, their cartilage was regenerated. So it takes a lot longer. It's a different kind of tissue. It's a lot tougher, and it doesn't have the same kind of cell structure as all of our other cells in the body that turn over very quickly or relatively quickly, depending on the system. So be patient and take your MSM and your collagen, among other things. All right. So it also says, let's see, more research continues in the strategies for regenerating cartilage, the cushioning tissues between the bone joints. Okay. When combined with MSM supplements, a collagen supplement can enhance the formation of new tissues and bone. I think I said that already. All right. Anyhow, it's good to reiterate, though, in case you weren't listening. All right. Now, here's some botanicals and foods that help regenerate connective tissue. So food is very important. It has a variety of nutrient factors that are necessary for rebuilding the body too. But to have collagen and the MSM as a foundation, along with all the regenerative foods that you can eat, then you're going to experience a healing and regeneration, and you're going to be able to utilize, be active again. So this is excerpted from my book, Potent Superfoods for Lifelong True Health. It's a database of all sorts of things. It has scientific monographs of 109 botanicals that show all the health benefits of every single one of those botanicals. Very intensively done. A lot of research went into it. And also it has a database of the antioxidant phytochemical compounds that are in the plant kingdom, that are in a lot of the foods that we eat, and in the botanicals that are featured in the book. But also it has charts. Now, this chart lists the different body systems and the kinds of foods that you need to nourish that body system with. And there's a lot of overlap in the different body systems, but I laid them out individually, for each of the main body systems. So we've got pineapple, oranges, grapefruit, sauerkraut, cheddar and blue cheese, cod roe, soy sauce, soy miso, dry soybean, chicken liver, green peas, corn, and shellfish. Now, it has to be organic, guys, because if it's not, then you're going to have those pesticides and you're going to have the genetically modified organisms and all these other things. And if it isn't fish caught in the Arctic waters, then you're going to have too much of the toxic metals, the mercury, the cadmium, that kind of thing in your system. And plus the microplastics that the food chain, especially in the ocean, has acquired over time. So here is the joint section in my book. So these are going to help you have more physical mobility, ease of movement. It'll help you maintain your joints, your joint fluids, your ligaments, your collagen in your body, and it'll prevent and alleviate inflamed conditions because it will do the healing process. So once you have the healing, you're not going to have inflammation, you're not going to have pain either. So you have, it's providing your cell nourishment, for muscle strength. People who work out have reported great strides in their muscle progression, in strengthening your body, strengthening their muscles, maintaining connective tissue flexibility, muscle tissue pliability. When I was very, very active in the martial arts, I was always very flexible, but when I started taking the MSM, I noticed immediately how much more flexible I could be. It was amazing. Preventing spasms or cramping, maintaining proper heart, skeletal, blood vessel, and uterine muscle contractions, maintaining oxygen and nitrogen transport and delivery for tissue repair and regeneration, improving muscular endurance, reducing oxidative stress from overexertion when your body produces these stress chemicals that are very inflammatory, improving work capacity and speed of recuperation from exertion. So not only do they help you pre-workout, during your workout, but after your workout, when it's so important to replenish nutritionally and let your body get stronger from utilizing all the nutrients to make itself stronger again. So that replenishment process is very important if you're exercising. All right, so now I'm just going to scroll very quickly through the books that are, the botanicals that are in my book. And so you'll see that I also let people know where to get these particular foods or in the form of supplements, So yeah, I mean, if you just pause the video as you go on, you'll see just how many of these foods contain the nutrient factors that will help you build a stronger, more flexible body and not have inflammation. So they help all the different body systems, not just the structures, right? So yeah, these plants are pansystemic. They'll go through the whole, they have so many different phytochemical compounds in them that they'll just go through the whole body and do all the repair work for you. So in order to order collagen and MSM, by the time you get this download, then I will have put the link to where to order it. So I will go ahead and show you on my website where you can find it. And I might just go ahead and put that link in here while I'm at it. So we've got the supplements page, and I had a few glitches putting this together for some reason. The platform that I use is Wix, and it's very tricky sometimes. So here is the collagen. Now, I did my research on collagen, and let me tell you, there are so many different ways to get misled into buying the wrong kind of collagen. So I am going to, oh, here's Gail. She came back. I'm going to let her in here. Welcome back, Gail. All right, so now I'm going to show you that document. If I could just remember what I did with it. I thought I had it up, and now I have to think. I'm so weary of working so hard lately. I need to just, relax tonight and take it easy because it's been a very heavy work week for me. So anyhow, let me see, where did I put it here? I'm sorry to take up your time. If I don't find it in the next 30 seconds, I am just going to put it in later so you can see where that is. I think I might have put that right in the shopping cart here. So let's see here. I guess I didn't. No. All right. So there is a document that shows the scientific research that's been done on the different collagens. And what the scientists have found is that most of the collagens contain too many of the levels of toxic metals, the mercury, the cadmium, the lead, arsenic, all these things. Most collagen products are above the safety standards of even the European organization that I mentioned earlier. So other countries have higher standards than the United States, and that's because we've allowed these corporations to run rampant with trying to see what they can get away with, right? It's all about money and power, apparently, not about caring about human health. But that's what I found. So I selected this in that article. They listed four different products, and I did an intensive research on every single one of these products, and I came up with this one because it actually got awards, and the others don't claim to have any such awards. So it was awarded overall best collagen powder, and the winner for strong hair and nails. And also, if you click on the link here, you can just go to and see it much larger, you know. Here's the link. Here's the link that I put it in an obscure place. I think I'll just put that on the document as well for you. But anyway, if you want to see the labels in a much larger print, then I put that there for you. But let me go ahead and go to that article before we close tonight. And this is going to be very eye-opening. In fact, why does it say page not found? That is not good. Awards and certifications. There was an article, you know, in here that I thought I was clicking on, but apparently that's not the article. I will find it and I will post it on this document for you that I'm reading to you tonight. It'll be right here. You know, I'll leave that green highlighted there, and I'll put the links there so you can read that scientific study and why it was so why this product was selected and why I selected it. I'm just checking to make sure I didn't put it in the reference section, and it doesn't look like it. These are all the others that I put on there. Okay, that's all right. Once I end the call and I get to relax, I'll remember it. It'll just come to me. Maybe even in the middle of the night. Who knows? That's happened before. All right, so I am going to say good night, though, to the public. Good night, everyone. Thank you for being here. And next, if you want to join the True Health Mastery Institute, then that's where the fun begins, because after we turn off the video, then we have even more intensive discussions. And also, if, you know, sometimes something comes up and we look things up together, and, you know, more learning is done, more instruction is done. So there are a lot of questions that can be answered. You know, so there's a lot of exploring that we can do together too. But for now, I'm just going to encourage you to please join the True Health Mastery Institute. You can always go to my website. The links are posted by the time you see this video. The links will be posted in the description box below. And do like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also subscribe to the True Health Mastery Institute. And this is what it looks like when you go to the True Health Mastery Institute site at myholisticchoices.com website. You just click on that and it'll give you all the details of all the advantages of being a member subscriber of the True Health Mastery Institute. And as you scroll down here, then you can just join very simply, very simple process there. It's a month to month, very affordable. You can quit anytime. I'm not going to keep track of you, but I am sharing with you 45 years of research and experience and practice in helping people get well. And so, yeah, you can explore the website. There's books to be had and whatnot. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. I'm going to make sure I don't hang up on the members here like I did before. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording. Good night now. See you next time. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.